The pressure is clearly getting to Donald Trump, and he suffered another overnight cracking meltdown with post after post to Truth Social, 1 a.m., back at it at 6 a.m., riddled with lies, but really a sort of peek behind the curtain into the narcissistic collapse that is taking place here. I want to go through a few of the things on his mind and talk about the important policy and cultural and political implications here. Trump starting, quote, speaking about the redistricting effort of Texas, Trump said, quote, "Big win for the great state of Texas. Everything passed on our way to 5 more congressional seats and saving your rights, your freedoms, and your country itself. Texas never lets us down. Florida, Indiana, and others are looking to do the same thing. More seats equals less crime, a great economy, and a strong Second Amendment. It means happiness and peace. But Republicans, there is one thing even better. Stop mail-in voting, a total fraud that has no bounds. Also, go to paper ballots before it's too late. At 1/10 the cost, faster, and more reliable. If we do these 2 things, we will pick up 100 more seats, and the crooked game of politics is over. God bless America." Trump, of course, ignoring that the motivation for what they're doing in Texas is merely a thirst for power. It's just an atavistic desire for taking control unilaterally, tyranny of the minority. That's all it is. Maybe Gavin Newsom in California and maybe some other states can do something to push back against it. Maybe they can't. And of course, Trump talking about no mail-in ballots, no voting machines. This is his latest authoritarian explosion, which we've covered extensively. Trump then continuing with another post, "End mail-in voting and go to paper ballots. 100 additional seats will go to Republicans." The idea being that the will of the voter is that Republicans have 100 more seats in the House, but only because of the inherent fraud and criminality of mail-in voting do Republicans not have 100 more seats. Total fantasy, complete fantasy. Trump continues, 59% approval rating for President Trump, massive lead over the Democrats. A reminder of Trump's fragile ego, a reminder of the triggeredly nature of Donald Trump and how his thirst and need for approval from others is an unending characteristic of his personality. But I was able to find no serious approval poll in which Trump is in the 50s. It's hard to find them even in the 40s. Trump's approval mostly is in the 30s. Trump then turning his attention to Gavin Newsom. Not a surprise. Gavin Newsom's getting attention. Gavin Newsom's a better speaker than Trump. And Gavin Newsom doesn't seem to constantly have cognitive glitches like Donald Trump. Trump posting, quote, "Gavin Newsom is way down in the polls. He is viewed as the man who is destroying the once great state of California. I will save California." President Donald J. Trump. Of course, the truth is, in 2028, betting markets for the presidential nominee, Newsom is up. In 2028, opinion polling for the Democratic nominee, Newsom is up. In polling within California as to his mid-decade redistricting initiative, support is way up. So often it's just, what's Trump saying? The opposite is probably true. Trump then engaging caps lock once again. He couldn't resist. MSNBC is doing so poorly in the ratings that they are looking to change their name in order to get away from the stench of their fake news product. So much fun to watch their weak and ineffective owner, Concast, headed by dopey Brian Roberts, hopelessly and aimlessly flailing in the wind in an attempt to dissociate itself from the garbage that they created. MSNBC is a failure by any name. I'm not a big fan of MSNBC, so I'm not going to be here to defend MSNBC. I also think the new name MS Now is terrible, just absolutely terrible. And we talked about that on the award-winning bonus show yesterday. But Trump is just so obsessed. This is the president, and this is what he's wasting time on. Trump then continuing, just like our southern border is now 100% secure, that's a lie, Washington, D.C. is safe again, and we have just begun the process of revival. The truth is, troops were mostly sent to low crime areas of Washington, D.C., where they would be more visible. And in addition to that, this deployment of troops to D.C. has led to a reduction in dining reservations in D.C. by 30%. Trump's military. Who could have guessed that militarizing the streets of DC was not exactly going to be an invitation to go out and have your tacos, right? Trump continuing, any California school district that doesn't adhere to our transgender policies will not be funded. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump throwing in a little transphobia. And then finally, Trump threatens Colorado if they don't release a convicted criminal that supports Trump back onto the streets. Trump posting, quote, free Tina Peters, a brave and innocent patriot who has been tortured by crooked Colorado politicians, including the big mail-in ballots supporting the governor of the state. Let Tina Peters out of jail right now. She did nothing wrong except catching the Democrats cheat in the election. She is an old woman and very sick. If she is not released, I am going to take harsh measures. Now, of course, the truth is that Tina Peters was involved in a whole bunch of different fiascos. She was charged for her role trying to steal the 2020 election from Donald Trump, and she was a important node of disinformation with regard to Biden stole it type conspiracies. And now Trump is saying, if you don't release her, I'm going to get personally involved. Spoken like a true authoritarian. This was all night, folks. This is what, it's 3 a.m. What is Donald Trump doing? Well, he's sitting on his bed, toilet, we don't know. And he's putting out messages like these. Terrifying. And if you think that the vice president's doing better, I've got news for you. It's not going so well. You say you'll learn a new language every year, but few of us actually follow through. That's why I always recommend Babbel. It's the app that finally made language learning stick for me. This year, I've got a trip to France planned. I've already started brushing up using Babbel's 10-minute lessons. The app is built around real-life conversations, not games or gimmicks. So I'm learning exactly what I actually need to know when I land. I've even been using Babbel's speech recognition technology to improve my pronunciation. Super helpful. Babbel is designed by over 200 language experts and proven studies from places like Yale and Michigan State. There's a study that found that using Babbel just 15 hours is like a full college semester of a language. They offer 14 languages and more than 16 million people have used it. They've got a 20-day money-back guarantee, so it is risk-free to try. Here's a special limited-time deal for my audience. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for my audience at babbel.com/Pakman. Rules and restrictions may apply. The link is in the description.